Hey guys, today we're going to talk about 1.5. So 1.5 talks about time cards and basically counting hours that you're at work, keeping in mind that you're also probably going to take a lunch break or a breakfast break, obviously depending on when your shift is. If you have an overnight shift, you'll have some sort of food break, even if it's, 2 in the morning or something like that, if you're working that late shift. So let's talk about it. I'll be able to calculate elapsed time. Elapsed means like time that has passed. So elapsed time and find the amount of each paycheck from these daily hours. Okay, so a couple definitions first. A daily log is where you write the hours you worked each day. Admittedly, this is probably not done on paper as much anymore, although some of you guys, especially with part-time jobs, you may have jobs where you're writing this down every day instead of like an electronic system. And then your time card is where you write the hours you work each week. So every day it's on a daily log, and then you transfer those to your weekly time card. When I used to work for the village at Hinsdale, we'd like take down trees in the village and patch up the streets. We would literally like drop a punch card. It kind of looks like a library card in the machine, and it would punch the time that we checked in. We'd come later, we'd drop it at the end of our shift, and it would punch when you left. And then that's what was used to calculate our pay for the week. Like they would add up all those days. Now, if you do scan in, it's probably like a computer system where you scan a card, kind of like when you go to scan in the library, or like a math resource where they're taking your attendance type of thing. So technology kind of takes care of some of this math, but I would argue that just being able to take a time frame and figure out how much time has passed is a very big skill. So we want to make sure we have the fractions of hours figured out. So 15 minutes, don't use 0.15. That's not accurate. That's actually a quarter of an hour, which is 0.25. 30 minutes is a half an hour, so that's 0.5 hours. 45 minutes is 3/4 of an hour, that's 0.75. We want to change everything to hours, so this 0.25, 0.5, 0.75 when we're calculating these together. Two basic steps. First thing we want to do is add the whole hours, and then we'll follow that with any extra minutes. And then after we do that, we want to subtract any break time, like for a lunch break. So let's take a look at Sally's schedule here. So Sally works from 5 p.m. until 11 p.m. and she had a 15-minute break. So from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m., I would literally just count on your fingers, right? We start at 5, so we don't count that as the first hour, but we go 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, right? So that's 6 hours. So we'll put 6 hours over here, and the number that I add is just going to be 6, right? Then I want to count, I don't have any extra minutes, right? But then I want to take into account this 15-minute break. So 15 minutes, we're not going to use 0.15, we're going to use 0.25 up here, right? 0.25 hours, it's a quarter of an hour. So for that 15-minute break, that's 0.25 hours. Notice both these labels are hours, not minutes. And therefore, I want to subtract 0.25. You can use your calculator on that, and we end up finding that's 5.75 hours. So that's what we would multiply by our hourly rate to figure out our pay for that shift. So 5 p.m. to 11 p.m., not bad. I'm going to skip example 2. I think you guys can... Actually, no, I'll do example 2. So Tony's working from 12:30 p.m. to 8:45 p.m. And he has a 30-minute break. So first, I just want to count whole hours. So always ending on the 30s since I start at a 30. So 12:30, right? So I go 1:30, 2:30, 3:30, 4:30, 5:30, 6:30, 7:30, 8:30. 8 full hours there. But I didn't stop at 8:30, right? I went a little bit extra. I went to 8:45. So 45 minus 30, that's an extra 15 minutes, right? Which is 0.25 hours. So I'm going to add that 0.25 because I worked that part as well. So that's add the whole hours, then we have the extra minutes, and then I want to take out that 30-minute break, which is a half of an hour. And that's going to give me 7.75 hours. All right, so that's when you have extra minutes to deal with. Lastly, for example 3, and then you can do 4 on your own, Now we'll see what happens when you go from an AM to a PM, because that can be a little bit tricky. But just remember, if you start at 8:15 PM, 8:15 AM, 12 hours would be if it got to 8:15 PM. I'm not working at 8:15 PM, so this should be less than 12 hours here. So that's just a good thing to know going into the problem. So let's see, 8:15, I'll go 9:15, 10:15, 11, 12, 1:15, 2:15, 3:15, 4:15, 5:15, 6:15, that's 10 hours. I don't want to go to 7:15 because that's too far. But I'm at 6:15, that's 10 hours. Then I got to go from 6:15 to 6:45, so we can subtract 45 minus 15. That gets me 30 minutes, which is a half of an hour. So I'm working that too. I'll add that. Lastly, let's take into account that hour lunch break. So 1 hour break, that's 1 hour. I'm going to subtract the 1, and we're going to get 9.5 hours, 9.5 hours. So if you could do me a favor, please try number 4 on your own. And let's see, this doesn't specify. Let's assume that it's 7:45 a.m. until 5:30 p.m. So this would be a.m. on that one. Okay, best of luck, guys. Appreciate you guys watching. Thanks.